example 2 here is a different type of question because I'm not given a graph. I actually think it's easier because I have to take a point and it gives me the point, negative 10 comma 22, and I have to just transform that 1 point. I mean, if you take a look at the previous questions, I had 4 points that I had to transform. That is way more work than transforming just 1 point. But the rule here, like how I do it, is still the same. So I have my rule, which takes any point, x comma y, and we're going to do some things to it, some transformations. And so I have this right here. It says plus 12, and it's inside the bracket, so that affects the x's. But I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to minus 12. Outside the brackets affects the y. It says minus 9, so I'll do exactly that. So if it's outside the brackets, you do what it says, minus 9, that's to the y because it's outside. And then what's actually inside with the x, it says plus 12, but you do the opposite, minus 12. Just to write that down, what actually is that? If you're in the x direction and you're minusing 12, that means you're moving left. So this is left by 12. And if you're on the y's and you minus, that means down. Y goes up and down, negative is down, so we're going to go down by 9. So, anyways, we can take our point, which is negative 10, and we can take our negative 10, and we can minus the 12. So I can do that in my head, actually. Negative 10 minus 12 is going to be negative 22. And then you have 22 minus 9. 22 minus 9 is going to be 13, I believe. So again, we would normally do this rule to 4 or 6 points. We've only done 4 so far, so we did 4 points. Here we're only doing it to this 1 point, which is kind of nice. It's a little bit easier. So let's do again here, the next one, we'll do a rule. So our rule says take any point, x comma y, and we can do, well, for the x, it says minus 8, so I will do the opposite. I'll add 8. And the outside is the y. It says minus 12, so I'll do exactly what it says, minus 12. Now, affecting the x is left and right, so we are going to be adding it, so we're going to be moving it right by 8. If you add 8, that moves in the positive horizontal direction. This is horizontal. Positive horizontal would be heading right. And then we're taking the y and we're minusing 12. If the y is up and down, if you minus 12, that means you're going to be going down by 12. Anyways, we can take our point, which is 10 comma, negative 10 comma 22. I'm going to write that down. Negative 10 comma 22. Negative 10 plus 8 is going to be negative 2. And then 22 minus 12 is going to be 10. So I've come up with the rule. I wrote this down. I don't think it asks for that, but it's just good to write that down and kind of get in the habit. And then I've written down my new point there. So I'll zoom out if you need to write any of this down, and we'll do the next 2 questions. Okay, so what's my rule for this? So I take any point, and the x has minus 10, so I'll do the opposite. I'll add 10. And outside of it, it's the y. It says add 10, so I'll add it. So they're both being added. Even though it says minus, you do the opposite for the x. So that's my rule. Now I do have some things that in the x, if you add 10, that means move it right. So you're going to be moving it right by 10. Why is it right? Because you're adding it. If you're adding in the x direction, that's horizontal. If you're adding something, that means you're moving in the right direction because numbers get bigger. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So moving bigger moves to the right. So adding 10 is right. Y, you're going to be moving 10 in the positive direction. That's up. So you're going to go in by up by 10. So right 10, up 10. In any case, we have our point, which is negative 10 comma 22. So if you have negative 10 and you add 10, you're going to 0. And 22 and you add 10 and you're going to get 32. So 0 comma 32. And lastly, so here for our rule, we're going to take an x and y coordinate, and we will, for the x says plus 14, so I'm going to minus 14. And for the y on the outside it says minus 22, and I'll do exactly that. If you're in the x direction and you're minusing 14, that means you're going to be moving left. Left by 14, because you're moving in the left direction, that the negative direction is moving towards the left. So if minusing 14 is left, and then minusing 22 is going to be down. If you're, the negative direction for y is down, so you're going to go down 22. So that part is unnecessary. What we're trying to do is negative 10 comma 22. So if you're at negative 10 and you minus 14, you're now going to be at negative 24. And if you're at 22 and you minus 22, well, now you're at 0. So that is our new point. So let me just zoom out so you can see all 4 of these. And we will next get into some reflections. Because all we've done so far is just shifting things.